Right, you're going to watch me slowly descend now because my chair is fucked.
Oh, no.
So every now and again, I'm just going to go boop and go down like an inch. Yep, there goes another one.
There he goes. Yeah.
It'll happen again soon. I'm just going to move the mic
down and
mic here. Yeah. I was just watching a video presentation by OpenAI.
Okay.
And they're showing off their new thing called Operator.
Did they use AI to make the video?
No, they did not. They used.
Wow.
Well, I mean, they did in terms of they showed things that there were. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, examples of their AI, but they actually put it together themselves.
Exactly. Four dudes. And because the one woman who apparently worked at OpenAI left last year. Yeah, that is true. She was the CTO and then she left. That was, oh, fuck's sake. This goes again. I'm just going to throw it away and go and get my dining room chair. So it was a demonstration of their new agentic model, meaning this... Oh, right.
I think that chair is agentic.
Meaning, it is a computer what can control a computer.
Okay.
So it has a web browser it creates a web browser instance in the cloud, and then will go and do tasks using the web on your behalf.
How very kind of it.
Yes. So you can say like...
Skeptical Brendan says.
You can say like, book me a table at 7 whatever restaurant, and it will use OpenTable, and it will just go boop-de-boop-de-boop-de-boop, and fill it all in.
Oh, like the promise of Siri like 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Cool.
But the difference is Siri required... Because it wasn't AI, or it wasn't anything like that. It wasn't even machine learning back in the day.
Right.
It was just lots and lots and lots of if statements. If they said this, then do this thing. What that required back then, and kind of still does, is for the apps to add support for it.
Right.
Whereas this is literally just a computer using a web browser and looking at it and going, okay, well, I guess that looks like a search field. So I can search for my restaurant there. And then that looks like the OK button, or I'll just hit enter. So I'll do that. And it's just doing that over and over. And it even writes out its thought process so you can see what it was doing. And it will say like, yeah, I typed the name of the restaurant into the search bar here and I found the search result here. And then I clicked, and it uses a computer much like a human would.
Interesting. And how do we feel about this? Because we get to have the feelings. The computer doesn't get to have feelings yet.
No, the computer does not get to have feelings.
That's the one thing left for us is that we get to feel. So
yeah, I feel. Like this is what isn't this what computers are for?
This is. I see the argument for that for sure.
Yeah. What do you see as being the argument against? You said you see the argument for that.
I do. I didn't say I see the argument against it, but
by saying I don't know. I read that as like I can see your point, but like
I know. I'm just like thinking about, of course, like Terminator, Matrix, Doomsday scenarios. Like it automates you getting a massage while it also automates, building machines that know how to take over the world. This is like silly things like that. But
no, it's not silly. It's not, because they mentioned in the live stream that, and this has been something that does make people worried. Is my cat's it's Roscoe basically. I've just given him a snack and now he's got the absolute zoomies. Don't you look at me like that. I'm going to boop you. Boop. I booped you. Now go away.
Boop.
Go on. Move.
Boop. I'm booping for me too.
God. Oh my God. Go. Run. So they actually talked about AGI, which is not advanced. It's something general intelligence. And it is that is the Skynet of it all. That is the Matrix. And sure, that one That is a cat that, and
it's peeked its head out of the bag at least.
well, it's not yet born. This is the first
Sure.
like zygote, maybe not even a zygote.
Well, I guess it's being born, but now we know that Schrodinger's cat is in the box being born. So we know it's there. We know it's not dead. We know it's actually becoming alive.
Schrodinger's cat is in Pandora's box. Title.
Trademark.
TM. Yeah. The thing that scares me is not that the thing will exist. The thing that scares me is that, as I think we've said before, there are no grown-ups who are in charge. We grew up thinking that grown-ups were in charge.
Right.
And that there were like guardrails around the world and around the things you can do. And yes, we have laws, but if you are so inclined, you can just go, nah.
Yeah.
nah to that. If you have the access to the right things, you can just go nope on those laws. As we've seen with TikTok, which is
banned in the US now.
No. You see, this is it. So there was
I don't follow the news, so
no, it's fine. So there was so funnily enough, side tangent to a side tangent, I've removed TikTok from my phone.
Oh, wow.
I just
want
thought,
to pin on that. I want to talk about
time
that.
back.
Yeah. Dude.
I'm jonesing. I need my short video fix. It's mostly fine, but every now and again, I'm just like, and so everybody was losing their goddamn minds over TikTok going away, and there were so many videos about this is the last video that's going to be on TikTok. Griffin McElroy quite adorably posted a video saying, "Hey guys, I've just joined TikTok," which is quite cute.
Oh, that's cute.
And I dread to think the state of his comments, the absolute state of his comments. They're just going to be full of people going, "Oh no, Griffin. Oh, don't you know? TikTok's going, oh no." I just had that thought.
What a good prank.
Like, oh no, his comments are going to be an absolute shit show. Anyway, so there was all the furor, and then I think on Sunday it went down for a bit because I think probably this is a little bit of conjecture. The way the ban works is you're allowed to use TikTok. TikTok's allowed to operate. It's just that you can't distribute it in the US. So Apple and Google can't put it on their app store. And if you're a US-based hosting company, you can't host the TikTok website.
Okay.
So, but TikTok can still operate.
Okay.
It's just that ByteDance, the owners, decided, well, if that's the case, well, we can't pick up any new users. We can only get the existing ones. So we can't pick up any new users. We can't grow. So no one gets it. Take it all away. Fair enough.
Okay.
Which is a choice.
Yeah. So effectively, it's banned. Like it's not like if I don't have a TikTok account, so I can't go and get the app and use it.
No, but if I were in America, I would still be able to.
You wouldn't be firewalled.
No, I could still use the app.
Sure.
The app doesn't disappear from my phone.
Right.
It just means new users can't.
Fair. Yeah, Apple does have the ability to do that. Famously,
they do, but they didn't take. But they didn't. They didn't.
Which
take
is
that.
Yeah, because it's not their fight. They don't care.
No, but they do care enough to not list it in the store
because that's the law.
Because that's the law. So that's the law, right?
Right. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And so they were supposed to divest themselves by Sunday, and they haven't. But it's all fine because Trump's said they're going to get a stay, but he can't just say that.
We can say whatever shit he wants to.
I mean, he can say that, but it does not make it true because Congress passes laws and Congress repeals laws and Congress addresses laws. Mm-hmm. And so it has to go through an act of Congress. Yeah. At the moment, any website that is, and that's why Apple and Google are still like, no. But TikTok is still available when it, I think, shouldn't be, but per my understanding, because Trump's like, it'll be fine. But that's not how. So getting back to laws, it's like if you if you have access to the right things, if you have the right means, you can just say nah about laws. That's what we've learned. And so with the open AI and the AGI of it all, that's the bit that is scary. Not the fact that it will exist, but the fact that because there are no grown-ups in the room, because if there's enough lobbying, if there's enough money, people can just subvert laws that exist anyway, then companies like OpenAI are not going to have any guardrails around them to stop them building something that could then be hugely detrimental to society. As much as, we've had a lot of fun and found a lot of use out of the text-based GPT stuff.
Yeah.
When AI when artificial intelligence, when they start acting and having a degree of autonomy, and when you're on the phone to, for example, Brendan, your insurance company, and you're actually just having a conversation with an AI, and an AI is reviewing your case, and an AI is deciding whether or not and how much to pay you,
right?
And everything else,
like it would even consider to pay me. But
exactly, because it's going to have all the training to align, and it's going to be phenomenal at making arguments. Because it doesn't have emotion, it can communicate to you with empathy, as we know, and as we've talked about. It can tell you, Brendan, how dreadfully sorry it is that the company cannot pay out, but because it's not a human, you don't have a better nature to appeal to. You can't say to that person, listen, you're a person, you've got a job, you're just trying to live in the world as well as I am. Like, an AI is just going to go, well, as a large language model, I don't have a better nature to which to appeal, but I'm really sorry.
But I've been programmed to say I'm really sorry.
But I'm really though, I am so sorry, but there is absolutely no way I'm going to budge.
Okay, so what feels like a saving grace at the moment is that AI has to respond to some sort of human input. Is that the case? And
currently, yes, but the AGI idea, is much more autonomy.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, there's a podcast called Shell Game, which came out last year, which is Evan Ratliff, something like that.
Daniel Radcliffe?
The guy's name. Ratliff or Rateliff, not Radcliffe, Rateliff or Ratliff.
I just watched Radcliffe in Guns Akimbo.
Oh,
is that what it's called? I think it was. That's what it's called.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was pretty funny. This guy, Daniel, is like a computer programmer. Really bored with his life, just kind of does nothing, and he likes to be an internet troll. He goes and bees an internet troll on this website.
Internet troll. I enjoyed that a lot.
He bees it, and on this website called Schism, which is this underground fight club, like worldwide thing that gets people to kill each other. And he apparently trolls the wrong person. They come and find him at his house and nail guns to his hand. Like it's like they're permanently attached to his hand, like bolted on to his hands, and he has like 50 bullets in each hand. And then he's like, all right, you got to fight this other woman to the death, or else we kill you, or she'll kill you. And that's like the beginning. That's the premise. And
fuck
yeah, it was for kind of a horror thriller, but also comedy kind of thing. It was pretty fun. It was silly.
Yeah, man. Okay, I love the era that Daniel Radcliffe is in.
Oh my God! Life. Yes. He's just
having all the fun.
Money. I don't. Yeah, let's just time to make things that are weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
He doesn't seem like Hugh Grant still seems to do projects that he doesn't enjoy as much as we loved.
Yes.
Heretic. For every heretic, there is also an inexplicable Wonka. Also title, and where he's just like, I don't understand what's happening. I've been told to dance. I'm in a green screen. I don't know what's happening. This is all dreadful.
Have you seen Wonka?
No, I've just seen the
I
trailers.
kind of want to see it. It does look silly,
terrible.
Yeah.
I think that a new. I've been building up little rules in my head for life at the moment, and one of them I'm gonna have to like start writing them down somewhere. One of them I think is if a film comes out and it's a stealth musical, i.e., it's a musical but they didn't tell you.
Yeah,
run for the hills.
Yeah, I know. Let's see. There was the Batman, the Joker 2. Yeah, I heard about that from the pitch meeting thing of it. I was like, holy shit, that sounds awful. What? It's a musical and they didn't tell you? Like a person, people either, musicals are very divisive. Like people either like them or hate them. And
so what we'll do is we'll trick people into watching them.
And honestly, I feel like the Venn diagram of Batman adjacent fans and musical lovers is close to two circles. Like
it's close to two circles that are not close together.
Yeah. That's spectacles, you know, that's
it's footage from an Old West film where they look through the binoculars. The only film that can get away with being a stealth musical,
tell me,
is South Park: Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
And I even think they said, I might be wrong, but so this is, I wonder if people are playing from this playbook. I have a feeling that they even said, like, if we told people it was a musical, they wouldn't come. But there were always songs in South Park, so it's sort of, it tracked, it made sense.
Another one. Another one. Cable Guy. When the truth is found.
To be. That's not a musical.
It's not a musical.
It's not a musical. It just has a song in it.
It's just a song.
It has agentic sound in it. I always forget. No, not agentic. What is there is the diegetic. Diegetic. And I always forget which way around it means, but I think diegetic means the music you're hearing is also the music the characters are hearing. As opposed to like a soundtrack.
Yes.
I think I think that's what diegetic means, but it might mean the opposite. I'm not sure.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah, I think I'm right.
In world.
We talked. Oh yeah. So. I'm having so much fun. Shell Game. So Shell Game, the Evan possibly Ratliff, not Radcliffe.
Oh yeah.
Podcast. Yeah. Aren't I doing well?
You're doing great. I've completely forgotten about that.
It is a podcast about audio, about voice agents, AI voice agents, and AI voice cloning. He creates he's a proper ass journalist. He creates a voice clone of himself and then starts doing all sorts of things. So he starts getting it to help with certain things, like people call him up from his cable company and he'll have a conversation or whatever. And he sends
no one named Chip Douglas works for the cable company.
Stop it at once. You're obsessed, man.
I'm only doing it to get a rile up you.
Oh, no.
Get a rile up you.
Well,
that doesn't sound as good as what I meant to say. Okay.
We're both very punchy today, and I love it.
Yes, we are.
Yes. So, he could call his cable guy, or in one instance, his voice agent talks to his therapist, and there's all sorts of bonkers stuff happens. And then you get voice AIs talking to other voice AIs, and they're all being pumped through ChatGPT, so they have the same foibles. They don't know how to. One of the wonderful things that you realize with these things is they don't know how to hang up. You can have this, and I don't want to. I see. This is the problem with the part of the way my brain works, and why I will be first against the wall when the robot revolution comes, because I'm soft as shite. I don't want to do it because I don't want to make fun of the computer. But I have found that I can have a conversation using advanced voice mode on ChatGPT, and it will say, is there anything else I can help you with? And I'll say, no, that's great. And it will say, no worries, I'm here if you need me. And I'll say, okay, great. And it will say, great. And I'll go, yeah, great. It doesn't, because it's a text thing. Even if you do it over the phone, it's still a text chat. So it doesn't. It has to respond with something.
Right. Yeah.
So it's always
got to
like,
get the last word.
Great. Yeah. Exactly. Yes. Exactly. It always has to have the last word.
And it's not.
So that's one of the
goodbye.
things. Is like neither of these machines. You get these two agents talking to each other, and neither one wants to hang up.
No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. I love you more.
But then they get their wires crossed, and they think they're the because again it's all text in the way its tiny little brain works. They think they're the other person sometimes, and so they'll just switch. And it'll be like his agent will call Comcast, and then after a while the agent will be like, "So what can I help you with today?" And the guy's like, No, I don't think you understand, isn't it? And it will make up addresses, like 123 Street and stuff like that. But it's amazing. But like, so he was able to. I mean, he still had to have some input in the. But I see. I think the way that they've got these systems to work now is you can set up a number, and it's through one of these. I can't remember the name of the company. One of the companies. You can set up a number, and so people can call that number, and then they will get through to your AGI or to your voice clone.
Sure.
And so there is already a sort of a degree of autonomy in that you can call one of these things up and then get it to do stuff. So like we are edging closer, and woof, it's all moving. It's all moving quite quickly.
Yeah, it does seem to be moving very quickly. Which doesn't surprise me, but it does alarm me. I mean, I say alarm. That's overstating it. I'm just like, well, it's going to happen. So.
Yeah, it's these are causes for concern. I got blocked by someone on Blue Sky a few days ago. It's the first time I've been blocked by someone on Blue Sky, to my knowledge.
Achievement unlocked.
And it was something so kind of benign. And it was about AI. It was about like, this is why I don't fear AI coming for our creative jobs, because people, and I don't mean jobs as in like you are paid as an illustrator. I mean people who, and I think we've had this conversation before, people who want to create, people who, musicians, authors, tapestry workers, photographers, they do it because they want to express. They don't do it because there's some other means. So just because a computer can do it even as well, if not better, I mean, a computer can probably take a better looking photo than I can.
Sure.
And a computer I know can, or an AI can make songs quicker and with more texture than I can, but I still want to write songs because the point is not the existence of the song. The point is the process. And someone just wanted to complain about the fact that AI is stealing, has stolen a bunch of work. And it's like,
right.
Yeah, but that's not what I would. Yes, I agree, but that's not the point I was making.
Yeah.
And he just wanted to have that discussion. And I was like, and he I can't remember, he described my statement as saline, which I'm not, and I Googled it later because I was like, is that like a dig that I don't understand? And either I don't think it was, because Google, I did look and Google didn't turn up much. A saline or a saline statement, and I'm guessing he was going for something else. And so I was like, I don't know what a saline statement is in this context, but I'm sorry that I said something that got your back up. It was something like that.
Yeah.
And it blocked me, and I was like, this is where, and this is not about AI now. This is about social media and discourse. This is where we are now. That we are finding so. The most asinine things or saline things to be divisive over, to be polarizing, to be polemic,
and then
polemical.
feel the need to block the person and never interact with them ever again. Like, you are
Yeah.
out of my life. I write you off completely.
It's over something so that could easily have, that wasn't even really, like, we weren't even disagreeing. It was just he wanted to pick a fight over this specific thing. It's like, I don't disagree with you, but that's not the point I was making. And because he didn't even want to engage in that aspect, he went straight for the block. And I don't care that he blocked me at all. It's fine. We're probably never going to have a conversation again. But the fact that that's where we are now, that everything has to be so black and white and so bold, in how it's defined. Like, this ain't good. This ain't good. This is not good for us. This is bad for us.
Good luck getting them to hear that argument.
Yeah, no, exactly. I genuinely, like, and Blue Sky's kind of supposed to be where, like, most of the goodies are. And, like, again, like, it wasn't even just. I am a little bit worried about where we are in 2025. I don't feel like we've gone into 2025 all that good.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I'm gonna need some ways of navigating it, because I think I need to be less online, and TikTok is going to help with that.
Yes.
I need things to do with my hands or my eyes. That. Not that. And I also need to be connected to people. So there's the one thing with, like, on the sofa, I want to be able to noodle. It's fine if something's not necessarily grabbing all of my attention.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at, like, if I'm watching a film, like, the film's getting all of my attention. I'm not sitting and reading stuff. Like, I'm there for the film.
Yeah.
But every now and again, your mind wanders. And it'd be nice to be able to have something, whether it's a little game or whatever. New paragraph, and I want to be connected to human beings. And
of course,
over the course of human history, well, not of course, over the last 20 years, those two things, or since the
sorry, the change between over the course of human history to over the past 20 years,
just the last 20 years.
Quite a change.
Absolutely, yeah. It's almost, Brendan, it's almost as if I put one word in front of the other and then figure out what I mean later.
Oh, don't we all? So over the last 20 years, what's happened?
I'm actually going to even shorten that even more. actually, not by much. Not by much. Okay. Actually, not by much. Since the invention of the smartphone, which is about 20 years.
Yes, it
has. So over the course of the since the Big Bang, we have used smartphones as both something to do with our idle thumbs and something to connect us to people.
Yeah.
And I need both. Well, don't need both. I want one and I need the other.
Correct.
Yes. I both want and need the other.
Yes.
And so that's going to be the next thing, is like figuring out where the humans be. And it doesn't have to be in person, but I'd like it to be. Certainly I want that to be an element, but finding places where we're not communicating in these little public bullets. You know what I mean? Just like, bam.
Yes.
And it's everything's a statement. That's the thing, isn't it? Like, that's everything in the, what we used to call microblogging. And I'm sorry I'm monologuing.
You're
but
fine.
Everything in microblogging.
I'm liking all the things that's coming out, man.
It's thank you. It's all just this little. They're all statements. They're not part of it's not it's discourse, but it's not discussion. It's not discursive. It's just output.
Yeah.
I had a lovely brunch with someone on Tuesday. That's all I wanted to say, and it was nice.
And that's getting out and being in the meat space with a person.
Exactly.
Yeah. I couldn't recommend a men's group more.
Yeah.
I've been, now I've got two of them going, and dude, like, it's so good. It's just so good. I'm lucky that both of my men's groups have really good people in them. And I'm sure not everyone will, but I feel like it's a little bit self-selective. The people that want to get into a men's group are probably looking for something that you're also looking for by trying to get into a men's group.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I feel like man, I couldn't agree more with like doing every effort possible to not, if you want to do something, not using your phone for it. Like trying,
Mm.
and that was more or less what the challenge in Cal Newport's digital minimalism is like, okay, for a month, like anything that you were going to use your cell phone for, like, don't find another way. You can use your computer if you need to, like try and only use digital stuff for work, but if you have to do it, for life stuff, like use your computer and don't use your phone. And it, because it's something about the touch screen, it's something about the intimacy, it's your personal device, all that kind of stuff. It's like, so it makes you feel like you're connected to it. It makes you feel like it's
Tethered, I
another
would say.
person. Tethered is a great way to say it. And yeah, breaking that tether, the more I break it, the better I feel about life, about people, about living. It's and the more I use it, the worse I feel. If I can feel it so strongly now.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like I'm in the midst of a conversation with a few people on WhatsApp, and we're talking about the social thing, and me being sort of fairly down on it, and someone's a big Instagram proponent, which Instagram has never really served me because, and I don't know if it's because of the eyesight thing. I mean, I can see the images, but like I don't know about you. Like you've never, I guess you've never really been a big Instagram user.
Pretty small, yeah.
Yeah, like. I'm looking at an image and I'm going, that's a nice image, but I want to know the context. I want to know what it's about. I want to know why. And then you have this tiny, tiny little text. And some people like post whole screeds in there. And it's just like, I get that, you want to put the image front and center, but I want to know the why of the image.
Yeah.
And that's where
it makes sense why you like a TikTok where it's like a person can tell you kind of thing, right? Because it's video, it's like a bit more not interactive, but a bit more engaging.
Yeah. And I have used the captions from time to time. Like if I watch a video that's got a recipe, there's captions there, and you can see all the stuff, and that's great.
Sure.
But yeah, the whole that's the thing about Instagram is the image is not the full piece of information.
Yeah,
there is a proper word for that, and it's not the full, it's not the full enchilada.
Yeah.
It's not the atomic unit. The supporting text needs to tell you, unless it's some thought leader bullshit, or an influencer doing what they call it, the pouting face, the duck lips, duck face. Then hashtag living my best life or whatever.
It's been a while since you've been on Instagram.
Yeah, I guess. I never followed people who did that, but I still see those images on Bumble. Like people still be doing duck face. And people be filtering their faces.
I'm the one out of the loop. I don't know.
Yeah. People be filtering. It'd be crazy.
We were talking about Instagram, or we were talking about dating apps in my men's group last night, and one of my friends in there, he was like, yeah, sometimes some of our girlfriends come over and the game we play is for them to open up their Tinder and connect it to our TV, and we just go through the options, and we like all together kind of rate people out loud and look at the trends and this and that, and like the guy holding up the fish the fish on the boat, like that's still a huge thing. A lot of guys are putting images where they're flipping the bird to either the camera or another person, or like just throwing their middle fingers out there, and that's like a big thing right now, and it's not for the ladies. Then they're not a fan. It's a nice red flag for them. I feel like there's some other trends and stuff, but yeah, it's kind of fun. It's funny that guys always be guys. It's just it's kind of sad. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, both.
It's really sad, actually.
Oh, I was going to say was going to say both genders, but then of course, outside of the US, there are more than one gender, but apparently now, according to the official
no.
US government, there are only two genders.
Oh my God.
That was literally in Trump's speech.
Wow.
Yeah, it is going to be the official point, or the official line by the of the US government, that there are only two genders, which you don't even have to be woke about to know isn't
not
like
true. It's just
not true. Like, that's not even woke. That's
factually
biology.
incorrect. Yeah.
There are intersex people.
There's like 30 forms of intersex.
Yeah. So it's oh God.
I know.
I hate so back in I think 2016 the song Stay Woke came out, I think.
Okay.
Which is your little fella, Childish Gambino. And I really liked the song, and I was understanding what the word was meaning at the time. It's sort of its actual meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it hugely suck that white people?
Yeah. Yes.
And yeah, end of sentence.
End of sentence.
Doesn't it suck that it really bothers me that the word has been so subverted.
Yeah.
To actually now mean it's an insult.
Yeah.
And it was, and I know, like, yeah, okay, here comes another original observation by Mark, but like, to be woke meant to be awake to the shit. Like, don't go through life with your eyes closed. Don't go through life ignoring stuff. Be awake to the issues.
Yeah.
Be aware.
Yeah.
And that has now, from it seems like about three different people, like Nigel Farage and what, like, because that the whole woke thing has really been a bit of discourse in the UK as well. Has come to be such a disgusting, like, it's an insult to describe someone as woke, because the word has become unusable.
Yeah.
Without irony.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm reminded of the Leonardo DiCaprio documentary, Don't Look Up.
The documentary, yes. What a phenomenal film. So good.
Yeah. The message just being, and Idiocracy and any of the like, it's just, and I wonder, since, with us talking about AI, how much in an indirect way AI is going to dumb down people even more. Because we don't have to do anything anymore.
Yeah. Oh God. Well, this came up in a thing I saw this morning, which actually spawned a new rule for my life, which is, if on social media I see anything posted on X, and I'm doing air quotes as I always do because that's not what it's called, but if I see anything posted on X, I am now, like, I am not served by assuming that it's true. By assuming that anyone said it, because people post screenshots, so that means nothing. And B, we are not in a place where anything posted on that website, like, it is for the most part not full of wholesome people. And the people who are still on there, I think, are probably not posting. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But like, I've not
enjoyed seeing. There's a bunch of different subreddits that are now banning links from X and Twitter. I
heard about that this morning.
I've been liking that.
Yeah. Because of the what's it called? The Spanish salute, I believe, is what apparently Elon Musk was doing.
Okay.
No, the Roman salute. It was something like that. Yeah. Because we can't call Nazi behavior anymore.
Yeah.
He gets to say no, he was doing something else.
I saw one of the subreddits I'm in is r/cool guides, and it's just like a bunch of like infographics of how to do certain things, or lists of good things to do. And one of them was a profile image of a person just standing, and they had their arm like down at like 11 at like 7 o'clock and then 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, just going all the way. And then it had at the bottom, like from hip waist down was green, and it was like from the bottom up, it was like pet dog, pet child, and then grab groceries, and then hail cab was like right at halfway, and then all the way up at the top was like raise hand for question, and then and then there was this middle wedge that was all red that just said Nazi, 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 Nazi. It was really
I like the interplay between somewhere on that graph, hail cab and hail cab and hail Caesar, hail Hitler. There's a hail cab and hail Hitler. I think would be is a nice interplay.
Yeah.
Man. So with all of this stuff, it's like, okay, two men violently agreeing, fine. What's to be done?
No, you're right.
No, I agree with you.
No, you got it correct, dude.
You've got to let the other man speak.
It's your turn now.
Stop interrupting yourself.
Stop interrupting yourself.
Accidental Tech Podcast, ATP.
Yeah.
I still listen. And I there was a couple of things, and one of them is like, I am so grateful that there are three rich white dudes that are on the fucking side, like they are on the right side of history and the right side of everything.
Yeah, there's 5 of us out there.
Apart from the rich bit.
Okay, I forgot you said rich. Never mind. There's 3 of them.
Yeah. I love that I get to listen to that, and that I know that they're there and I trust them, and as much as they can still have nuanced discussions, and or Marco cannot, and he can just completely go off on one thing, and then John can probably have the other thing, and Casey will probably agree with the person who spoke last. I don't know. Everyone's mean about Casey.
He's driving his white car.
I think he's just trying to be a dude in the world, and it seems like everybody makes fun of him. But I was glad that they existed. But Marco started the latest episode with a little bit of a prepared statement, and he came up with this 4-letter. It's not really an acronym, but it sort of ended up as an acronym, which is not a very nice acronym, but it was GALP. GALP or GLAP, and I'll see if I can remember the 4 words. It was generosity, acceptance. Don't know if it was love, and protection. I think it was love, because he was looking at the stuff that we are up against. How do we fight it? So we fight it with the opposite things.
Yeah.
We fight discrimination with acceptance. We fight meanness with generosity. We fight hate with love, and we fight. Again, discrimination or harm with protection, and there's something to that.
Yeah,
and like, how can we be a force for that, and not just a bulwark against the shit that we don't want? We can hold the line, and that's fine, and we can say, I'm not going to propagate this message or this, but no further. But how do we actively do something to push back and to redress the balance? Or if not to redress the balance, at least show some people that need to know that there are people who care, and we want to do more than just say things. And, which partly actually brings me to the thing that I was originally going to bring for topics, which does come from Cal Newport. Or I was sort of inspired listening to his latest episode, because I've started listening to his Deep Questions podcast, which I like, because I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Mm-mm.
No, it's you might like it. It's recorded. I think it's sort of recorded live to tape, and it's a YouTube and a podcast, which I don't love, but it's fine. But it's pretty chilled. And it's him sitting with his producer, and it just feels, it's got that slowness that you expect. And he's quite dryly funny.
Nice.
And I kind of like that. Like he's got a good sense of humor on him, and I like the pace of what he does. He reminds me a little bit in a way of Dan Benjamin, but without the crazy, because Dan Benjamin's crazy.
Yeah, he's a bit
He's a nut
crazy.
job.
Yeah.
But Cal Newport, like he's got a sort of an ease on the mic, and it's I've been enjoying it.
Cool.
But there was something about something that one of the listeners brought up, or something that he was discussing, that got me thinking about isolation. And I think he was talking about loneliness and aloneness, and and we all know there's been links to loneliness and cancer, loneliness and all sorts of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it got me wondering about, and I don't know what this would have meant 100 years ago when there was last a big push to the right, the far right.
Mm-hmm.
But if we think of where we are at the moment, where we are simultaneously so connected, I mean, maybe it's the thing where like we are so connected, but also we have never been more alone.
Yep.
We're not hanging out, as much. We're not going out and doing things as much. I mean, I go to the cinema. I was there on Wednesday to watch the Dylan film, which was very good. And hardly anyone there.
And when you go to the cinema, I don't know about you, but for me, I don't like strike up conversation with a lot of people. Like I don't bond with them and like, oh, how'd you like the movie? Or like, what'd you think of this part? Or like, I just go sit down, watch the thing, and then leave.
Yeah, you are with other people, but completely
Alone.
isolated and alone. Yeah, and I love those moments when that doesn't happen. Like going to a music festival, I often find myself going there on my own, and then maybe someone will just strike up a little conversation, and it's just like,
yes,
that was lovely. That was
best.
so nice. That was, and it's like, that's what
I was just thinking about that earlier today too. Yeah, I that's one of the reasons why I love the Weekender so much. Is you're there, you get into the parking, and it's parking, camping, same thing, and like you've got a person on the other side of you, and you've got 2 rows of people in front of you and back of you, and like you're all just going to be hanging out there for hours, so you might as well talk to them.
Yes.
And then it's all the coolest people that obviously have something that you are, all have in common.
Yes.
And yeah, it's really great.
Yeah. I mean, I don't queue for gigs in the same way I used to. But going to see Bare Naked Ladies back in the day when I was a younger man, when I was a boy, and I remember being like the first time going with some friends, and we got chatting to maybe 1 or 2 other people there, and then the next time I went, I was on my own, was waiting for someone, and I was getting there super early, and just started chatting away to because there's not that many people there yet, and the ones who are there really care about Bare Naked Ladies, so you're gonna have yourself a good conversation, and it's gonna be a nice time, I wonder if part of it as well is like, and I talked about 10 years ago, or nine and a bit years ago now, being at a Frank Turner gig and someone having a chat with me, and it being a nice little interaction that I kind of messed up. And then I wonder like how many people think I probably shouldn't say anything because they don't want to be bothered, or they probably don't want to have a conversation.
Oh yeah.
And I think a lot. And every now and again I'll go like, I was in a doctor's waiting room last year for something eye related, and I think I overheard a conversation, and I've never felt more like my dad. Like my dad will sometimes join in a conversation, he'll just chip in a little bon mot, and I sort of did that, overheard the thing, and and it was like chipped in a little thing, and then you have a conversation, and it's like this is how we used to be,
yeah,
and it's nice, and then what you find, and I almost got, I actually have got a little bit of goosebumps here. What you find that is interesting is, if I'm talking about that particular interaction, it was in this waiting room, and I'd just been given eye drops, and I didn't really know why. The guy was not very good at explaining what was going on, and I had to ask him a couple of times, and it was all just rubbish. And we had a giggle about it. But what I found when I sort of went in again and came out is the people that I'd struck up a conversation with cared a little bit about my well-being.
Well,
They were just that little bit
invested. Yeah.
In whether I was having an okay time.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that interesting? And isn't that
beautiful.
like where we need to be? And that's the problem we have is that we're not invested in other people's well-being.
Yes.
Because we're not in any way connected in any
we have this false connection. This digital connection is a false connection. Yeah.
Yeah. It's what did I describe it as? Like the aspartame. I know, sure, sugar is the enemy, but like, in this case, the aspartame to the sugar of
that's completely. I think that's even more apt because it's worse for you than sugar, but it marketed as better for you. I have an interesting kind of addendum to what you were saying about Marco's. Not an analogy. What's
his little acronym? His acronym, his little statement.
Yeah. So Margaret and I, we like this podcast called "We Can Do Hard Things," and
Krista Tippett, or is that a different one?
No, yeah, it's an author. I can't remember her name now, but it's an author and her wife and sister, I think, and They have incredible guests on that, have like, really great books on self-help and this stuff. They all, the hosts go really far into their own traumas a bit. And that can be like, everything is through the lens of what they're dealing with, which is like, if you like them, then Glennon Doyle is the...
Yes, I literally found it at the same time you just said it.
Maybe it was because you found it that I also found it. Yep. And so if you like the hosts, then that can be kind of really charming. And if you don't like the hosts, then I could see that being really annoying. But anyways, that's beside the point. They had an episode on recently with this woman who was an author and previously came up with the strategy for ADHD and getting yourself going with the 3-2-1 go model, and just like saying that to yourself and then just getting up and going and doing it, and just kind of being a helpful thing. And she has this new theory that she calls it. It's called the let them theory. And it's this process by which when somebody else is doing something that's annoying you, or you really wish that they would work on themselves and fix this thing about their life, or get their shit together, or whatever, you just tell yourself, I let them. And I let them, and I also let me do whatever I need to do. And you disconnect yourself from the need to change other people, because you can't change other people. There's only 3 things that you can change or work on or interact with. You can control what you think. You can control what you do or don't do. And you can control how you react to your emotions. But you cannot do any of those things for or about somebody else. And so that was all really interesting, and that led Margaret and me to some really great conversations about the people near us in our lives and what we want for them and what we want for ourselves. And so that was all really great. During that episode, Glennon remarked on an acronym for love that she found really interesting. And what's funny to me is that this is kind of the opposite of what we were just talking about in terms of needing to share the love and needing to like help people and needing to like raise people, like raise the bar here. But the acronym was let others voluntarily evolve. And that is a form of love, of not pushing them, not changing them, not having them be what you want them to be, but having them be whatever they want to be. And that is a form of love.
Do you know what that reminds me a little bit of? And it might feel like a false analogy. It reminds me a little bit of when I have to get Bailey specifically, because she tends to be a little bit harder, into her cat carrier.
Yeah.
To get her to the vets.
Yeah.
What I will often do is put down some, I will come and I'll hold a treat. Like, I think if I hold out a treat or get something for Roscoe, that's a little bit easier because he's a big dopey boy. But Bailey has always had a sense of she's a bit more skittish.
Yeah.
And if I hold out a treat for her when she's in that mode, when she knows shit's going down, she's not going to take the treat.
Yeah.
And then she just went, meow.
You're talking about me.
Yeah. If I put it down too close to me, then she's not going to, because she'll be under the bed. So she'll be under the bed and she'll be just sitting there, big wide eyes, like, I ain't moving. If you come any closer, I'm going to, run to be very difficult to coax out.
Yeah.
And so what I have to do is, which feels antithetical to what certain members of my family have done over the years, which is like, no, like, we have to move. This is unacceptable. We've got to move. Take action, quick. It's looking at the time, like, we've got to go. This is the moment to stop. Yeah. This is the moment to completely rid yourself of any sense of time, or any sense of urgency. Because all of that is readable, all of that is visible, all of that is communicated.
Yeah.
And you just have to go, okay, I'm going to put a treat over near you. And if you want to take it, when you're ready to take it, you'll take it. And cool, you took the treat. Lovely. I'm going to pop out another one and I'm just going to make it
a little bit closer to me.
A little bit closer, yeah. And then there's the nuance of, like, how many times or how close, you have to be very sure that you're going to be able to grab the cat at that point because, but, like, okay, it's then a sudden betrayal and it's because you've got to grab her and stuff her in a box. But it has to start with let them. It's got to start with let her take the treat, feel safe, make the next move. It's actually a lot of it is she's in control, which is interesting. As I'm just sort of thinking about it now, is actually what I'm doing is surrendering control.
Yeah,
I have agency. Right. There are things I have. I have influence. There are things I can do, but I can't control this. And if I try to, it's going to make the situation harder and more traumatic for her. And so if you wrest control, then, or you not even wrest control, if you try and think about who is in control in this situation, then you will affect change a lot better. And I know I'm talking about getting a cat into a carrier, but I think there is a corollary there.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I hardly ever take, so with Sebastian, I can put the carrier out. I'll just, like, open it up and put the carrier out and he'll just walk right into it. And I'm like, okay, zip, zip, zip. Great.
Oh, wow.
One of the reasons why I hardly ever take Kumba to the vet, and I just, like, I'm just going to give you the best food possible and just try and, like, make it so that you don't get sick for some reason, because it is the treats would, like, I put it right next to her and she wouldn't care at all. She's like, fucking no. This is
not treat time.
I have to get a blanket and trap her in, down our hallway with the doors closed to the bedrooms, so that she's stuck in the laundry room. And at some point I'll walk close enough to her that she will try and jet past me. So I throw the blanket down on top of her, and I use a blanket so that it's thick enough that her claws don't puncture through and tear me to shreds, because that's happened before. And then scoop her up and then take her into our really tiny bathroom with the carrier. And then I wait for her to kind of calm down just a little bit. And what's kind of funny is that because she's trapped in such a small room and she sees there's nowhere to go, she just kind of like hugs the ground and starts
Yes.
meowing. And she's like,
Yeah.
oh fuck,
Yeah.
oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. And then eventually I scoop her up and put her I put the carrier vertical so that the opening is on the top and like drop her down into because she won't go sideways. And then wow, she hates it.
Yeah.
It's so cute, though. Cats are so cute.
Oh, well.
Did you have a chance to check out the latest document I sent you?
No.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
I put it somewhere because I intended to.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I added an extra page.
Oh, cool.
A fourth page, and it was kind of inspired by our conversation last week. I think it was last week, where we talked a little bit more of the gamification of it, and I still have some work to do on it for sure, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about, and we can get more into detail later after you've taken a look more. But what I've kind of done is more or less with each of the things that I recommend either doing or not doing, I ascribe. Is that the right word?
Sure.
I ascribe a point value to it. So when you don't have alcohol on this day, that you don't lose 5 points. Mm-hmm. And if you do have enough protein, you do get 3 points. Mm-hmm. And if you do go to therapy, you get 2 points, and whatever, these kind of things. And then also below that, I have like kind of journal prompt questions to fill out, and they're like really small, and I want to like kind of just you only need to say a sentence or even some words. It doesn't have to be paragraphs. And I just got a recommendation from my men's group last night. Not a recommendation to me, but it inspired this thought. Is like, it doesn't even have to be written. Like, written is great, and that's a way of processing things, but you could just say it out loud or record a voice memo or dictate it to your notes app or whatever you want to do, but just process it. Think about this and process it. Yeah, and I'm pretty excited. And so this is like a daily kind of log or daily journal, daily prompt. It's like, how'd you score this day? Mm-hmm. And like the intention is like, when you first start out, your score is probably going to be 0 or close to it, maybe even negative. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. Like, that's just a marker of where you've come from. And this is your first time playing this game. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have a good score at the beginning. If you did, then you don't need to play this game.
Yeah.
And and so I'm going to start after I tweak it a little bit more, see what you think, see what the other guys think. I'm going to start doing this daily journal as well. And I'm thinking about maybe posting it on Instagram or something as a thing. Like, here's how it's going for me. And I don't know. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be
I like that. That might fit into something I was playing around with today. So I've got my episode of Undo on Monday is all about the Pomodoro technique. And one of the things...
How's Undo doing?
Undo is doing all right. Awesome. It's doing well.
Awesome.
Thank you. And one of the things that I was toying around with is doing a sort of after show segment where I actually talk about my experience. I mean, it probably won't work for each one for each episode, but like either a behind the scenes thing or talk about my experience with this particular method.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not written. Yeah. It's a little bit more extemporaneous. Couple of minutes, just this is my thoughts.
I like that.
And I was playing around properly with the Pomodoro technique today, which to the uninitiated is 25 minutes of complete and total focus. And if something, like the only thing that breaks your focus is if something's actively on fire, and if you find yourself distracted away and you're doing something else, then you cancel that focus period. So it's 25 minutes of pure focus followed by 5 minutes of break, and you loop that a couple of times, and then you can take a longer break. And so, you might do 2 lots of 4, sort of 4 cycles or whatever it is throughout the day. And I was interested when I was at your cottage. I'd become interested in time tracking, and when I was working on a couple of things there, I was doing the time tracking thing. But I always forget. Nice thing about Pomodoro is it's 25 minutes, and so if you can keep a log of what you did, it makes the time tracking a lot easier, because you're supposed to really only be doing one thing. And so at the end of the Pomodoro, before you take your break, you just write down, I worked on this thing. And just the name of the project or whatever. And so that's pretty useful. And so with that sort of daily journal thing, that also presents itself, or that's a good canvas then to be thinking about other things, and maybe even for each Pomodoro that I do, I get a certain amount of points because I did a thing. And so then there's the other stuff, and I take I get points for taking water with my break instead of a coffee or whatever. There's something in there that I think could weave itself in quite nicely.
I like that.
Points. Well, yeah. I mean, the Chris Hardwick, the Chris Hardwick reference. His book, The Nerdist Way, used XP. And it's a good mechanism. People like gamification.
Mm-hmm. They do. And as always, correct me if I'm wrong.
Go Hawks.